All right, so you're prepping for a wood products assembler interview.
That's awesome.
We're going to really dig into what to expect and how to make yourself stand out
Yeah, this deep dive's like your own personal workshop
using all those great RoleCatcher guides.
to help you build some winning answers.
Okay, love it. So let's start with the basics.
Uh-huh.
The RoleCatcher Career Guide really lays out what a wood products assembler actually does. It's not as simple as just putting pieces together, right?
No, not at all. It's about understanding all the different types of wood, how they work, how they react, and using all these different techniques to make a really solid, beautiful product.
Yeah.
You could be using, specialized saws or sanding down edges to get that perfect smooth finish,
Right.
or even operating a hydraulic press
Wow.
to join intricate pieces.
That actually makes me think of something I saw in the guide about the work environment.
Oh, yeah.
They mentioned things like dust and noise,
Yeah,
which you obviously wouldn't find in an office job.
right. You're going to be working with heavy machinery, and there's definitely going to be some noise involved.
So do you think interviewers will ask about that? Like wanting to make sure you've considered the realities of the job?
Oh, for sure. They might ask about your awareness of those conditions, just to be certain that you've thought about what it's really like to work in that kind of environment.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's your chance to really highlight your commitment to safety and your knowledge of the industry.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
So now let's get into the interview questions. The interview guide has some common ones.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be super helpful to walk through them.
Definitely. Why don't we start with a question you're almost guaranteed to hear?
Okay.
Can you tell us about your previous experience in wood products assembly?
Right. Now, this is where I think a lot of people might get tripped up, especially if they're just starting out.
Especially if they're new to the field.
Right.
That's where transferable skills come in.
Okay.
So have you ever, built furniture from a kit?
Yeah.
Worked on a DIY project around the house? Or even just helped a friend with some basic carpentry?
Right.
Those experiences all show that you have some foundation
Yeah.
and are willing to learn.
Okay, so even if you haven't worked in like a professional wood shop, you can still showcase relevant skills.
Exactly. Let's say you built a bookshelf.
Okay.
You could say something like, while I don't have direct professional experience, I recently built a bookshelf from scratch, which involved, taking precise measurements, using different hand tools, and following detailed instructions.
Right.
This project really taught me the importance of patience and attention to detail.
Yeah.
Skills that I believe are valuable in wood product assembly.
That's a great way to frame it.
Right.
Okay, now what about a more technical question?
Okay.
Like, how would you rate your ability to read and interpret technical drawings? I think I would be intimidated by that one.
Yeah, it's understandable to feel a little intimidated. But remember, most employers aren't expecting you to be an expert right off the bat.
Okay.
Honesty and a willingness to learn are key here.
So could you say something like, I'm still developing my skills in reading technical drawings, but I'm eager to learn. I'm a quick study, and I pay close attention to detail, which I think are important for accurate interpretation.
Exactly. And you can even highlight your commitment to continuous learning by mentioning any courses or resources you're using to improve your skills.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
This is where I think RoleCatcher's AI can be really helpful
Yes.
because it can analyze the job description
Absolutely.
and tell you if reading technical drawings is a must-have or just like a nice-to-have.
Right. If it's a must-have, you might want to prioritize learning that skill before the interview.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But if it's a bonus, then your enthusiasm and willingness to learn will probably be enough.
Okay, perfect. All right, let's move on to another common question.
Okay.
How do you ensure quality control in wood product assembly? Seems straightforward,
Yeah.
but I bet there's more to it than meets the eye.
Definitely. It's not enough to just say you pay attention to detail. You really need to showcase your understanding of quality control processes.
Okay.
Think about the specific steps you would take to make sure each piece meets the required specifications.
So instead of just saying, I'm careful, you could say something like, I always double-check measurements, visually inspect each component for flaws, and use quality control checklists to ensure I haven't missed anything.
Exactly. And you can add even more depth by referencing specific tools or techniques.
Okay.
You could mention using a caliper for precise measurements,
Right.
or highlighting the importance of inspecting wood grain for consistency.
Okay.
It shows that you really understand the nuances of quality control in wood product assembly.
Yeah. And it demonstrates that you're committed to delivering a high-quality product, which any employer would appreciate.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's shift gears a bit
Okay.
and tackle a question that can sometimes feel like a trap.
Okay.
How do you handle a situation where you encounter a problem during wood product assembly? Everyone makes mistakes, right?
Right.
So how do you approach this without raising red flags?
I think this is where a lot of people might get nervous and try to, downplay any mistakes they've made.
Yeah, that's a natural reaction, but it's actually more effective to embrace those learning moments.
Okay.
So think about a time when you faced a challenge during a project. Maybe you misread a measurement or a piece wasn't fitting quite right. How did you approach the problem?
So instead of pretending you're perfect, you should walk them through your problem-solving process.
Exactly. Did you recheck the instructions? Did you try a different technique? Did you ask a colleague for help?
Right.
Highlighting your resourcefulness and your ability to learn from those mistakes is key.
I remember one time I was building a cabinet, and I accidentally cut one of the shelves too short.
Oh, no.
I was so frustrated with myself.
Yeah.
But I ended up repurposing the piece, and it taught me a valuable lesson about double-checking measurements.
Absolutely. That's a great example. It shows you can adapt and find solutions even when things don't go according to plan.
All right, so what about those questions that really dig into your technical skills?
Yeah.
Like, can you describe your experience using hand and power tools for wood product assembly?
So this is where you really get to showcase your practical knowledge.
Yeah.
Be specific about the tools you've used, the projects you worked on, and any relevant training or certifications you have.
Okay.
The career guide actually mentions that employers often look for candidates with experience using a variety of tools.
So just listing out every tool you've ever touched might not be the best approach.
Right. Focus on the tools that are most relevant to that specific job description.
Okay.
RoleCatcher's AI can actually help you identify those keywords
Oh, wow.
and tailor your answer accordingly.
That's so helpful.
Yeah, it's like having a customized cheat sheet.
Okay, so now let's talk about a question that's really crucial in any woodworking environment.
Okay.
How do you ensure workplace safety during wood product assembly?
Safety is paramount in this field, and interviewers want to see that you take it seriously. It's not just about knowing the rules, it's about demonstrating a proactive mindset.
So rather than just saying, I follow all the safety guidelines, you need to give concrete examples.
Exactly. You could talk about conducting regular equipment inspections, ensuring proper ventilation in the work area, or even mentioning a time when you identified a potential hazard and take steps to correct it.
So it's about showing them that you're not just aware of the protocols, you're actively thinking about safety.
Right.
Okay, now let's tackle a question that might come up for more experienced candidates.
All right.
Can you tell us about a time when you had to troubleshoot a complex problem during wood product assembly?
So even if you're newer to the field, you can still answer this thoughtfully. Think about a time you faced a challenge during a project, maybe even a personal one, and walk them through your thought process. Did you break the problem down into smaller steps? Did you consult resources or seek advice from someone more experienced?
So it's really about showcasing your ability to think critically and find solutions,
Exactly.
even if it wasn't in a professional setting.
Right. And remember to highlight the positive outcome. Did you resolve the issue effectively? Did you learn something valuable from the experience? These details make your answer way more compelling.
Speaking of compelling answers, I think it's time to bring up RoleCatcher's AI again.
Oh, yeah.
It can not only analyze job descriptions, but also provide feedback on your video practice sessions.
That's right. You can actually record yourself answering these questions, upload the video to RoleCatcher, and get personalized feedback
Wow.
on your delivery content and even your body language.
That's amazing.
It's like having a virtual interview coach.
Okay, now let's dive into another question that can be a bit tricky.
Okay.
Can you tell us about a time when you had to work with a difficult colleague?
Oh, yeah,
This is a situation I think everyone faces at some point.
for sure.
So how do you approach it without sounding negative?
The key here is to focus on your approach to resolving the situation, not on the colleague's shortcomings. Did you try to understand their perspective? Did you communicate clearly and respectfully? Did you find a compromise that worked for both of you?
So instead of dwelling on the conflict, you're highlighting your ability to navigate those interpersonal challenges.
Exactly. You want to demonstrate your communication and problem-solving skills in a professional context.
Now, before we move on, I want to touch on something that's not directly related to interview questions,
Okay.
but it's something I saw in the RoleCatcher Career Guide.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about the importance of continuing education and professional development in the woodworking industry.
Yeah, that's a great point. The industry is constantly evolving with new materials, techniques, and technologies emerging all the time. Staying current is crucial for career growth and job satisfaction.
So attending workshops, taking online courses, or even just reading industry publications can give you an edge.
Absolutely. And it shows potential employers that you're passionate about your craft and committed to continuous improvement.
So we've covered a lot of ground in this section. What are some key takeaways you want our listeners to remember?
I think honesty, a willingness to learn, and the ability to think critically are all crucial for acing this interview. Don't be afraid to showcase your personality and your passion for woodworking. And remember, RoleCatcher's AI tools are there to support you every step of the way.
Okay, we are back for the final part of our deep dive.
Into prepping for that wood products assembler interview.
I feel like we have built a pretty solid foundation so far.
I think so. We've covered a lot. We talked about the job itself.
Yeah?
We tackled some of those tricky questions, and we even explored how RoleCatcher can help you fine-tune your responses.
Right.
But there's one more piece to this puzzle.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's the secret ingredient?
Well, it's something that you can't really get from a guide.
Okay.
It's that spark of genuine enthusiasm.
Oh, I like that.
Remember what drew you to woodworking in the first place?
Yeah, that feeling of satisfaction when you see a project come together.
Exactly.
Knowing you created something beautiful and functional with your own two hands.
Yeah, let that passion shine through in the interview.
Okay.
Talk about the projects you've worked on, the skills you've developed, and what excites you about this field.
It's like the difference between just, assembling a piece of furniture
Right.
and crafting a piece of art.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Employers want to see that you're not just looking for a job, you're looking to contribute your skills and your passion to their team. And that brings me to a bonus tip that's not in the guides.
Ooh, I love bonus tips. What is it?
Don't underestimate the power of asking questions at the end of the interview.
Oh, that's a good one.
It shows that you're engaged, you're curious, and you're thinking beyond the basics.
So instead of just saying, no, I don't have any questions,
Right.
you should come prepared with a few thoughtful ones.
Exactly. Think about what you genuinely want to know about the company or the role. You could ask about their specific projects, their commitment to using sustainable materials, or even their opportunities for professional development.
Right. It's a chance to gather some valuable information and make sure it's the right fit for you.
And it leaves a lasting impression. It shows the interviewer that you're not just looking for any job.
Yeah.
You're looking for the right opportunity to grow and contribute.
Okay, so to wrap things up, what are the most important takeaways for our listeners?
Go into that interview prepared, confident, and enthusiastic. Showcase your skills, highlight your passion, and don't be afraid to ask questions.
Of course.
And remember,
RoleCatcher.
RoleCatcher's AI tools are there to support you every step of the way.
That's fantastic advice. We hope you've enjoyed this deep dive into the wood products assembler interview process. We are confident that with the right preparation and a positive attitude, you'll be able to nail that interview and embark on a really fulfilling career in woodworking.
Best of luck, and remember, keep crafting your skills and your future.
That's a wrap on this deep dive. Thanks for joining us.